All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today. We're going to be talking about AirSlate integrations for systems of records for things like Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, NetSuite, Office 365. My name is Aaron Brennan. I'm the Director of Product Marketing. And today I have two colleagues joining me, and I will pass it over to Colin to introduce himself and then to Maria to introduce herself. Take it away,
Hi,
Colin.
everyone. I'm Colin Tubner. I'm the head of customer solutions for AirSlate.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Makovska and I'm product manager for integrations at AirSlate.
Great. Thank you, guys. Before we get started in going into the integration side of things, we wanted to update you on who AirSlate is and where they came and where we came from. So we were founded in 2006 with our flagship product, PDF Filler, which is a PDF editing tool. We have over 40 million users worldwide. And then we also have two other products, Sign Now, which is an electronic signature tool that allows you to send out documents for legally binding electronic signature, and AirSlate, the new product that launched last year, which is our workflow and automation tool, allowing you to automate a document through its workflow process. We also own US Legal, which is a legal document library that you can go and find documents from any number of legal forms, whether it be renters agreement forms, all the way down to filing for any sort of legal matter that you need. You can find it on US Legal. So I'll hand it over to Colin to go over AirSlate.
Really, a couple of key things that we want everybody to understand about what AirSlate is and does. It's one solution instead of multiple. And so AirSlate combines together a number of different things that you can get from different vendors in the marketplace, but never in one box. So in addition to e-signature and the automation, we also offer a number of other kinds of documents that can be automated and integrated to your systems of record. That includes generated documents from a Word document, negotiation of contracts, web forms, integrated payment collection, and more. And so you can build a solution with no code at all, fully automated with just one subscription price.
Thanks, Colin. And to give you a little more background on sort of why we built AirSlate, AirSlate was a combination of conversations that we had with people within the workflow area, people that were interested in e-signature, as well as looking at the market and getting a better understanding of where the market was and where it was actually going. And through our research, we found that the average business has over 140 plus systems to manage within their business processes. And data transferring and syncing between those systems is a challenge. Those systems are really put together through APIs. They have different UXs, which line of business owners need to log into in order to use. But the UX is so much different in each one of those pieces, as well as the way that it moves data back and forth, that oftentimes it increases mistakes. It increases the frustration for the user to get things done. They put it off till the last minute, or they don't do it at all in order to move things forward. And we wanted to create a system that was an all-in-one solution that allows you to stay within one system, to move data seamlessly between systems of record, as well as back into AirSlate, and be able to automate that workflow solution with a series of different tools that need to be pulled together in order to do a end-to-end solution. Maria, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, so really, when you look at the typical integration tasks around a CRM like Salesforce, for example, so you want to generate a document with your data from Salesforce, and you want to send it for signing, you want to get it signed, then you want to get the signed copy stored somewhere in the external system or even within the same Salesforce record. But if you are using multiple solutions that are not natively integrated with each other, this becomes a very cumbersome task, because think about when you need to install a document generation tool and you need to configure that. Then you need to install a signature tool and you need to configure that too. Then you need to configure some link between the two so that they can exchange the data. And then you need to select some workflow tool to take the signed file and push it to your external system. And then you have all this configuration files sitting in 4 different places, different software vendors, different licenses to manage. And if you have multiple workflows, this becomes really, really a cumbersome and difficult task to manage.
Yeah, and one of the main pain points that typically comes from this is as IT teams and other administrators are setting up these processes, line of business owners can sometimes come in and say, "Hey, what if we added this, or what if we added this different tool, or what if we added this different step in the process that typically needs a new tool that needs to come in, and you've already figured out your architecture to roll out with these four tools, and now you're adding another one that slows down the process, makes it a little bit harder to create an interactive, seamless customer journey without, kind of putting on to the customer this really bad experience. And we're also adding another software vendor in more and different ways to configure this data in the way that it moves between systems.
Even when people are used to, even when you have the experts that are used to working with these different systems, you have those changes and they cascade across 4 or 5 different software packages. They become extremely hard to manage and disruptive to the business. And so, making the user experience easy for them isn't just about easiness. It's about speed to value, about reducing the numbers of errors that happen through the system and reducing the complexity of the eventual solution.
And with this in mind, this is how we built AirSlate. And one of the things that we built AirSlate to do was to seamlessly integrate with major systems like Salesforce, NetSuite, Microsoft Dynamics, and make it easy for the line of business user to actually integrate with these systems of record, or the IT administrator to actually integrate these systems of record. Quick, easy, and seamless. And we do this through no-code tools that the user can configure their automation easily within an if this then that statement.
Yeah, so let me very quickly explain how our integrations are organized. So all AirSlate integrations, they kind of follow the same principle. So we give you a set of tools that can be used to generate documents, set up uh, approval, uh, e-signature or negotiation flows, set up web forms for data collection like leads and so on, set up payments collection, and all this comes with a workflow automation tool that is integrated natively with all these creative tools, so to say. And we give the ability to an integration user or even external integration process to start document creation in AirSlate with a click of a button or with some scheduled or triggered event. The beauty of AirSlate is that you can easily generate packages of documents pre-filled with your CRM or ERP data. It doesn't need to be just document generation or just a web form. You can combine them all together in one package, and then you can configure really flexible approval or signature or negotiation routing. And with these tools, the the purpose of all this is to automate your routine task to give you more time to do something cleverer and to serve your customer better. So with AirSlate automation tool, we really shine at automating routine tasks like merging data into the documents, data from CRM or ERP systems, setting up document routing for negotiation, approvals, or a signature, creating new records in your system of record using the document data, or updating existing records, exporting documents that were signed and storing them in your system of record or in some external system of your choice. Triggering action based on the document signing event. We can trigger action in your systems to move records around, update status, and so on. The boring tasks that nobody likes to do. Um, we help you sending batches of documents so that you don't need to generate and send them out one by one. And we can even help with scheduled sends, like sending batches of document on schedule if needed. And the way how we technically offer these integrations, so behind every integration, there are a set of integration bots that are used to automate this routine tasks like prefilling, merging data, updating or creating records, triggering events, and so on. Then also we offer an integration app that can be installed in your system of record, like Salesforce, NetSuite, or Dynamics, or SharePoint. We offer this integration app, and what this app does, it gives your system of record users a button to generate a document without leaving the context of their record. So they don't need to know anything about AirSlate. They just have a button that you name like the way you need it, and they just click a button to generate the document. And what else the app gives them is the ability to track the progress of those documents without leaving their system of record. And also for the systems that have internal automation tools, we offer additional level of integration. We call it integrated automation. So for example, for Salesforce, we integrate with Process Builder. We offer Apex class to generate documents automatically based on system events in Salesforce. And we offer similar integration for Microsoft Power Automate, NetSuite Workflow, and Microsoft Workflow as well.
Great. All right. So now Maria is going to share her screen and we'll get into the demo. And in the demo, we're going to see how you can easily create documents from your system of record. We'll use Salesforce as the example, but it could be with the other systems that we support. And then you can get those documents signed and stored back to the originating records. Not only the documents themselves, but also any of the data that was inputted on the documents can be added to the records in your system of record. So we're starting out in the contacts list here in Salesforce, and you can see that we've added a button that launches an AirSlate process. Maria can select as many of the contacts as she wants to. We have them all selected here. And then just with one click, launches the AirSlate process, which will kick off the automation. That's all you have to do. And so we'll just get a message that's confirming that the batch has been started. And so the Salesforce user doesn't have to leave Salesforce. They don't have to go to the AirSlate environment. And then Maria will also be able to track the status of those slates from within the AirSlate app inside Salesforce. So she can both start and track all of the slates that she's doing from inside of Salesforce. And so all of the slate status can be tracked here. This may or may not even be necessary, considering that the slates, as they go through their workflows, can push data and documents directly back to the Salesforce records. So it's possible that Maria only just needs to look at the Salesforce record, and if the document has come back signed, she knows that it's done. If it hasn't come back yet, she knows it's still in progress. So now let's take a look at what the document signer sees as part of this process. So they'll get an email. The email is customized with their name, as you can see, and the message is also customizable. And then Maria can open this up and that she will see the completely customized document pre-filled with data from Salesforce. And then when you open the link, it'll take you directly to the document package. We have several documents in here. So we'll start out with a report that has some data that was generated and pulled out of the Salesforce contact. So there you can see the contact's information as well as some information that came from the contact record. The contact can change some of these fields, others is just for their information, they can't change them. Now Maria can step through the documents. Next one will be a web form. And this web form contains some conditional logic. So where the first one is really a document with fields that float on top of it, this web form can be designed to include really whatever you want as a form designer. We have a number of different fields. This is kind of a simple example, but allows you to see the conditional logic on the form as well. Next, we'll go to the agreement to continue that also captures a signature. So the e-signature is built right into AirSlate. You don't need to send documents to a different tool to get things signed. And then finally, we can also accept payments directly within AirSlate. In this case, we're making an optional donation that the volunteer can give, but it could also be payment for an invoice or something like that that was generated from Salesforce or another system of record. So we can accept payments directly within the document package inside AirSlate. So now that Maria's completed that process, some of our bots will automate the process of sending documents and potentially also data back to the Salesforce record. So if we revisit our contact record, we will see the documents that we had generated and signed coming back into the William Shakespeare record here. So there's the updated mailing address with Henley Street that Maria had changed. And then also under the notes and attachments, we have the latest agreement that was pushed through. And there it is with the certified e-signature and the date. And so that's pushed directly back into Salesforce. So now let's change gears and put on our flow creator hat on. So as a Salesforce admin, you can set up your workflow automation using the visual interface. The first step is to create the documents that represent the templates for your flow. So there's the 4 documents that we had talked about. And you can upload more, you can create more forms, have documents generated, etc. So all the different types of documents can be combined together into this package of documents. So take a look at one of the templates here. And so inside this template, which is a Word document style editor, you can have a mixture of data that's generated, like the address and city and state, with data that the user is expected to input at the time of when they're interacting with this document. All of these data can be pre-filled by bots and can also be written back to the system of record when the document is complete. On the right-hand side, you can insert additional tags. So you don't have to memorize the syntax for those tags like the contact name and contact address, but instead you can select from a menu that helps you construct those tags, including some fairly complicated capabilities like entire tables of data that might be based on, for example, if you had an account with multiple contacts in Salesforce, you could build a table in this document with all those contacts. So now we'll go back to the workflow and we'll take a look at the workflow steps. So since this particular workflow that we're working with is very simple, the workflow is also really simple. It's just the step to send it to the person who needs to interact with it. But it could be more complex with steps, branches, approvals, and so forth. And here you can configure how the user is going to interact with each of the documents in the process, as well as configure, in this case, the fact that that document is being sent to a Salesforce contact. But you could also use a field from Salesforce to get the email address, or even a field that was entered on another document in the process. And then now we'll look at bots. And so the bots help us pre-fill data from Salesforce, push data back to Salesforce, and do other types of automations that happen within AirSlate. They don't all have to be integrations. They can be automations that happen inside of the process as well. So like this pre-filled doc with data taken from another doc just interacts between 2 documents in our package instead of interacting with Salesforce. And so you can also set up custom notifications, automation tasks, and multiple kinds of integrations, not limited to Salesforce. Any one process might talk to multiple different systems. And we have over 100 different bots, including many integrations as well as the internal facing bots. So lastly, back in the Salesforce world, we'll show you the visual interface to set up the connection to Salesforce. You remember on the contacts list, we had a custom button that launched the process. And so with no code, you can add those buttons to whichever records are appropriate in Salesforce for starting processes. and allow your users to kick off those AirSlate processes with a single click. And that can be done from any object, whether it's a standard object or a custom object. You can add the buttons to allow the Salesforce user to launch the flow. And they can be added to both layouts as well as lists. So the layout would start it just for the one record you're looking at. If you add it to a list, then you can select multiple records from the list and kick off the flow once for each record that you have selected. All right, so back to Aaron to wrap us up.
Great. Thank you guys so much for that quick overview. It was great to see how things moved between systems of record. So just so that you guys can see what happens, how AirSlate is built for systems of record like Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, 365, NetSuite, SharePoint, and you get a real sense of that end-to-end workflow automation solution instead of having multiple different tools that would need to be stitched together. That creates a bad customer experience, a bad user experience, and a terrible way for data to move back and forth between systems of record, especially when it comes to things that need to be automated because of how repetitive these tasks are over and over again. So you can build out these workflows starting from your CRM systems without having to write a single line of code. This is a fully no-code solution that works from the front to the end of your workflow, of how your workflow needs to be designed.
Yeah, and you can find our integration applications published on AppExchange, on Microsoft AppSource, and on NetSuite Suite Apps. And obviously, we also have an AirSlate Academy where you can find free training courses, including those about AirSlate integrations. You can learn more about how this integration works from AirSlate Academy.
Great, and thank you everybody for joining us today and learning a little bit more about our AirSlate integrations and how they work. We'll be going into some deeper dives into Salesforce, Microsoft, and NetSuite integrations in the coming weeks, and I urge you to check those out as well. Thank you everybody for joining, and have a wonderful day.